The 24-25 season has been a season of discovery for all Sorare scouts and managers around the world, with the change of the format to classic and in-season, which has totally changed the paradigm of how money and cards are won on Sorare. Everyone, no matter how long you've been playing this game, really started from square one together, and this season it's been really fun doing these videos. Normally it's just about overall, like, how much money's went in, how much you've managed to yield through the kind of the older metric where, you know, the needs are the requirement. There was advantages, don't get me wrong, and we don't need to talk about that in the video today, maybe we'll touch on it, but there was advantages to having in-season cards with extra bonuses and whatever that came with them, but your ability to use your legacy cards, the ability to use your classic cards season on season was an inherent advantage that, you know, making these types of videos when you're analysing yield and success over the season was almost given like a floor of success because of like how the money used to be distributed, and like I mentioned with card utility, it had a different dynamic it used to have. But this season, with everyone being at square one, it's been really interesting to see really individually how every one of you guys have been getting on the timeline, in the live chat and everywhere else in between, as well as all my friends in the Sorare community that make videos and do content and all the rest of it as well. And one thing that has been like really pleasing to see from my position is that really the number one beautiful thing about Sorare is there's more than one way to win on this game. And in the video today, we're going to be picking up from where we left off the last time we did one of these videos, which was game week 28. Now, since then, you know, I know for a fact, because, you know, I've managed to open my rewards and have a good time with them, that I've had two of my biggest wins of the season over the last 2 months in the form of big cash payouts, as well as star tier level cards coming into the gallery. But part of the detail, part of the kind of interesting crease that I want you to maybe focus on as we go through this video today, and I don't know really how all the numbers are going to stack out on this video, I'm kind of doing it live as we're recording it, as it were, but I wasn't quick out the traps this year on any of my strategies to go out and get in-season cards. My wallet at the beginning of the season was like empty, and I was making sure throughout the off-season that I was doing all the kind of the back end stuff, you know, the housekeeping, making sure the collections that I had a strong foothold in got as well rounded as possible where available, where possible, and then slowly progress that throughout the season, and then wait for market opportunities or, you know, card wins and that sort of thing to bring in the in-season cards that we need. And now at this point of the season, just before the March international break, I really do feel that, you know, this kind of, it's a tortoise in the hare kind of strategy almost, or it's a tortoise in the hare kind of situation where some people come in, buy all the early access cards on day one like the hare, and phew, they're off to the races quite quickly. Maybe they get some early wins along the way. And then there's a tortoise approach where, you know, you just kind of feel your way into it. Who is on form? Who can you actually win from the classic cards you've got already? Because the longer you play this game, you will want to play in season, you will want to have a good classic contingent as well that can feed you in season cards. And Julie, with that kind of slower, experienced, already built gallery, kind of field squad club, however you want to think of it, how does that approach look like in this kind of season with, you know, how I've ran with it, certainly. At any point in the video, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel, of course, for more content like this. If you are brand new to Sorare and you haven't even opened up your account yet, there's a link in the description of the video and in the pinned comment that will get you $50, pounds, euros, whatever your currency is, of market credit to go out and reinforce your squad after you've bought 5 cards of any price. And there's cards out there that are now for 50p off of instant buy or auctions. If you do get stuck, or if you've got any questions, please do reach out to me and I'll help you out the best I can. By clicking on that link, you actually support me and all the content here at the channel. So please, if you are going to play Sorare and you've watched this video, please do click on the link that you find here. It really does mean a lot. And check out the channel for all the beginner tutorials that you're going to need to get up and running and learn the ropes, as it were. But yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it, because I've been really looking forward to doing this video because of, I know that I've had a few good wins recently, and ultimately I'm very interested to see the tallies and the totals of where we're at. But really right now, not only do I feel that my tortoise of a gallery has caught up or is catching up to the hares, but Sorare have just totally redeveloped and upgraded massively the UI that we see across the website as well. So this does feel like a real turn of the page part of the season, where now come this weekend, I'm sure it is, we'll finally have Brazil back, and then that will be us in the convergence, as we've always called it here on the channel, where every league in world football is playing for at least a couple of months, and no matter where your cards have been hiding in the world of football, you can use them, you can plug them into a lineup. And This is when Sorare is at its max magic, and it's normally a period where, yours truly, FC Barcelona, we tend to do quite well. Now, the last time we did this video, we were counting up cash, boxes, and cards. Now, we left this off setting up for an international game week in game week 28, and at that point in the season, we had won 17 cards. Really, none of them of any notable kind of quality, other than maybe Thomas Araujo. Marvin Wanizek certainly stands out as like the best guy that we won, but that was from a tier 2, an all-star pool, it must be said. And Kyle Larin, we managed to just pick up a super rare win right before doing that video. We'd won $340 in prize money, and we'd picked up 78 boxes. And in game week 28, in the international break, it looks... the international break, we had Depay still playing in Brazil, which is just funny to see. But in the special shooter competition with a DNP goalkeeper, we managed to pick up 1 box. Game week 29, we picked up a card, $70 in cash, and 8 boxes out of a possible 20 lineups. That's actually a detail that's going to be fun to watch grow as we go through this. Game week 30... we get 2 boxes. In the game week Celtic played against Bruges. Sadly, I don't think the Celtic guys really did anything for the boxes that we got, sadly. Game week 30, we get another 9 boxes and a card. 31, I beg your pardon. In game week 32, we pick up another 4 boxes and a card. But this card is a tier 2. This one isn't too half bad at all. And we picked this up in a specialist competition, which is actually a lovely team to see again, by the way. Finishing 9th, we got a box alongside this as well. 2,500 entrants, Depay up front, double Celtic fullback is beautiful to see, with Fraser Foster in goals and Carlos Soler in the midfield. That just gives me great vibes. And the reason that's a good one, that tier 2, is because that's what's picked us up, Pascal Gross. Now, he's recently starting to come back into vintage form, it feels like, with Niko Kovac. And, we won him as a tier 2, and it feels like he's getting back to tier 2 levels. Because earlier in the season he was just not as easy to use or not as fun, let's say. But now it feels like he's kind of kicking back into gear. And getting a card like that from a specialist competition, number 1, that's champion, it's in season, that plays for a dominant team that plays midweeks, is lovely. It is always a bit sour when they're not that great initially. But again, it's one of those tried and tested things on Sorare, is like good players are good players and they will return. They will find their way somehow, somewhere, at the club they're at or whatever. And it's sometimes dependent on the player and how, in terms of if you're going to do it or not, it depends on your belief and how good they could be ultimately, or what you think their ceiling is. But sometimes it's just a matter of when they're going to be useful for you rather than if. And Pascal Gross at a tier 2 for one that wasn't too great, he was an if rather than a when. So back at game week 32, that was actually quite a big card to pull for now. Game week 33, we pick up $80 in cash and 9 boxes and a wee bit of market credits as well. And as I'm saying that, I know already, because I've seen Larson Ur, that's twice by the way, I've seen him with some big scores by the way, all the way back here. Sadly, the outfield haven't always been that good around him. But there's not a great way of tracking your crafted cards on Sorare or market credits, that sort of thing, in terms of how many of them you've pulled out of these different boxes. I've seen that we won a 5-star box. That came with the $80. That was an in-season 10th place finish here, with in-season at the time Shaqiri, Captain Berardi, and the few Celtic players that I had. And Austin Trusty I picked up for buttons. I don't know if we covered that in the last video when we counted the money and all that kind of stuff, as I did with like all of these guys. Really, I got Engels at a really low price point, he did the same, and Schmeichel was just a bite the bullet one that took a while to get going. But as you can see across these top 3 in-season lineups, especially, we're at game week 33 on the page, but in real life at point of recording we're at game week 60, the total change in makeup and dynamic of this, the level of quality that I've now got throughout all these squads is night and day. So it's interesting to see some of the players that maybe aren't as effective for me right now, like even Jamie McGrath, picked up a wee box here. I wonder what came out of that, versus some of the guys that are contributing a bit more obviously now. James Forrest obviously has been injured for a while. Game week 34, we win a little rainbow of boxes, which is fun. In game week 35, we win 6 boxes and a tier 3 super rare. Now, we've not won many super rares this season. This is one of my favourites that I won. It's not the highest tier, to be honest with you, but a guy that we've been familiar with on the channel for a while. Is a rock solid, steady guy. And being an in-season, like, that's kind of not too bad for a defender, certainly. And that is former Real Madrid Academy player Philip Lionheart, currently of Freiburg. And I've not really got to use him that well. He's rock solid, steady Eddie. Quite a good tier 3, I would say. And again, the super rare strategy is a much more watered down version of the rare, because I'm just not buying in-season super rares at all. Whereas a rare, a lot of them have got into price points where I'm like, yeah, I'll pick up an Austin Trusty for 20 quid. Yeah, I'll get a James Rodriguez dying a death at Vallecano for 20 quid or whatever. And there was openings and opportunities, whereas with Super Rare I've not felt that. So again, it's just a much more passive on in-season, a much slower tortoise, as it were, to keep in the theme of the video. So that was a nice card that really, after having Kyle Larin and Mark Gooey and whoever else, like, it didn't really feel that we were making any headway with any of the wins we were getting. So that was the first one where it's like, cool, this guy is like usable. And to give them their flowers, this is the lineup. Captain Enes Unal that won the Lionheart. So that's kind of nice and fun to see. And that kind of really, this is a perfect picture of like how I expect to get wins in Super Rare. It's just having, and that, look at Kyle Larin. He was a wee bit useful for a while. He's been on the bench again recently, but it's having that eclectic bunch of guys that just pop off and go together. And we weren't too far away from having a slightly better game week on that one. Game week 36, we donut. And then game week 37, we pick up another 10 boxes and we win 2 more cards. And this time we win our tier 2 Super Rare, which is the highest tier that we've won so far this season. And we won that for winning La Liga Division 3. And now I was quite attached to the lower divisions for this sort of reason, because once I started to prioritise the lower divisions in Super Rare, I won the Lionheart. I then went on and won this tier 2 card thanks to double fullback of Death, double 100 score. The rest of the guys did pretty meh. And I actually, at point of recording, had a game week just like this. And I ended up finishing like 7 for 8 when we won a tier 3. You probably know who it is at this point, but I won't spoil it in case you're just catching this video. And that win was probably the perfect tier 2 Super Rare to win for any gallery really at that stage in the season. And that is an in-season playing goalkeeper in Marko Dimitrovic, who has been fine to use. I use him all the time. He can hurt you, like this 14 here, but so often is a very punch capable goalkeeper, you know. And that's what you want. You want a guy that's nailed on to be number 1, and if they're capable of getting green scores regular enough, jackpot. We also got $100 in credits, by the way. Oh, I think this was a select your target effort, wasn't it? So that's fun. Guedes, Guimares, Angelino, Doak and Oblak. Really fun squad. And that $100 credits, I know I spent all of that on Alistair Johnson in season. Or a lot of it anyway. Game week 38, we get a card, which was a bit of a troll of a tier 2, which I actually ended up in a roundabout way trading into a classic Barcas, would you believe? $50 in cash and another 8 boxes. Game week 39, we pick up $217 in cash, 2 cards, and a bunch of boxes. I've got a feeling this is a Celtic game week perhaps. Where yeah, we've won a little bit of cash in limited, thanks to those in-season Schmeichels. We won a division, $60, which is fun. And another one we came in 32nd that got promoted. 2 Division 3 entries there, as well as some classic rare action. And in season where we finished 4th with this outfit here, Scalesy Classic. And then Alistair Johnson, that might have been a debut for him. Just about getting a wee box. Nice game week. Game week 40, we get 4 boxes. Game week 41, we pick up a card, which was a Cammy Devlin, which I've not really got to use much. $55 in cash and another 5 boxes. And game week 42, we pick up 3 cards and 4 boxes. And this is our biggest card win of the season. And it's a star. We've won it from Global All-Star in a game week where we didn't have the region opened. So I was forced to play in the All-Star competition. And this is a real thing that, you know, you've seen it already with a lot of the cards I've won. Like, I've won a lot in Specialist and in All-Stars and all that. Not a lot in terms of, like, volume, but some of the good ones I've had have came from finishing 10th and whatever, 7th and those types of competitions. And it's a Celtic stack. It's not even all in season, which is beautiful because it's an All-Star. It's a classic competition. Double fullback again. That McGregor. Not quite the high XP McGregor. This was the second lineup that I built. This was the first team, and they were in the same competition. So one of the beauties of multi-entry coming into play here, where DNP couldn't really crucify this lineup. And that star card we won was Mohamed Salah in proper Hall of Fame mode, a top tier star win, a card I was absolutely buzzing with, but with all the, you know, the uncertainty around his future, I was actually very nervous upon winning this. Now, I won my Salah on the 10th of January. On the 17th of January, one was sold on the secondary market, which I could have done, of course, for £580. And I was tempted to sell the Salah just to cream, just to absolutely, you know, bank in a big win for some of the outlay I've had so far this in season. I know I've been getting little bits of cash along the way, but this was the first, like, kind of big-ish win monetarily. You know, card-wise, mega, but monetarily, it's a nice size win. Now, as you can see with the history of this card, I traded it. actually a couple of days before that sale happened, to Pug Trader. And there's lots of trader accounts on Sorare that you can send offers to, and they're like bots that are programmed to accept cards of certain values or whatever. Pug isn't one of those ones. Pug's one that actually like evaluates every individual offer on merit. And I sent him this offer, expecting to get straight rejected and him wanting more over the table, but he straight accepted it in like no time at all, which I was really grateful for. But then that made me a wee bit nervous, like, oh, did I do the right thing? Because Salah might just keep going God mode, might get a contract extension at Liverpool or not go to Saudi essentially, which is the number one fear. And Rafinha maybe comes off a bit of shine, but Rafinha's a player I've been following really closely this season, and the question I asked myself is, with this amazing win, what would I have wanted to win ultimately? What would have been the ultimate card for me, utility-wise, that is still in the same price bracket as Salah that I can maybe get myself into? And Rafinha just ticked every single box, and even boxes that I don't even normally have. Now, as you can see today, Mohamed Salah kind of trades for around, let's just call it £275. And Rafinha, it says valuation that day was much lower, but it wasn't. It was actually like very similar to Salah. And as you can see, on the day I did this deal, one was sold on the secondary market for £558, which again, that was the going rate, that was the market on the time. I don't really know where those data points are overly coming from. And as you can see, at point of recording today, Benfica have lost to Barcelona 10 men this week. Rafinha scored the goal, and he's went his special celebration edition, which is a beautiful card by the way, and the regular edition going for £489 and £495. I had some nerves around this deal. Ultimately, I don't think there's any question that I feel that I've done the right thing, and it feels like this is a trade that I have swiftly won in, which is just beautiful. And getting that in that period there of January, I've not, like, we'll maybe see, I'm not too sure off the top of my head how well Rafinha's done. Will we check out his little tail of the tape, in fact, while we're here? So he's been involved in 2 little wins, 60th and 49th. Champions League ones, funnily enough. But with the Wanizek coming in earlier in the season, which was like a regional player like that, even though it was a global tier 2, and then having that Rafinha coming in to really help my La Liga and any champion in season efforts I might have, was absolutely mega. Because so much of this strategy, and you can only see on screen now the Celtic part of it, we'll start to see Champion Europe come back from their little winter break. But with Champion Euro, that is the number one place to play. That is where the biggest prize pots are paid out in all scarcities. And even if like your base camp strategy, like mine, is like a power team in one of the other regions, like a Celtic or a Benfica or a PSV or a Boca or River, whatever it might be, you know, at one point in time, you do want to have exposure to Champion Euro in some way, shape or form. It might be Prem, Bunde or La Liga only, of course, but the Champion Euro region as a whole is a bit easier to kind of exploit and get into, and we might see I've had some success in doing that, we'll see. But, like I say, I've got this base camp of Celtic, which is very powerful and equates for a lot of the wins and the success that we're getting and we're showing here. But across time, like, this is my 5th season, remember, you know, some of you guys will be in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, maybe even your 1st, of course, and once you've got that base camp set up, after that, it's all about all these little outpost gallery collection strategies you're going to have. Hopefully some of them kind of bleed into different regions, and like we spoke about on the channel a number of times, the beauty of Sorare, the beautiful of football in this way, of players transferring, careers going in different trajectories, is that, you know, guys you have for one season can be very useful season on season. And this just feels like a real club win, as well as like it's finishing first, it's pulling a star and all that good stuff, of course, but it feels like a really strong club win, a real strong strategy win. Game week 43, we pick up $20 in cash in 6 boxes. Game week 44, just the 4 boxes. And again, this is a big Celtic only period. We're getting kind of done with combinations, I think, for the most part. Some random DNPs and rotations and whatever. Game week 45, we start to see some other guys coming back into play. And we pick up $25 in cash in 7 boxes. Game week 46, we get $30 in cash in 3 boxes. And I can see again quite easily we've picked up $40 in market credit from the Best of Europe competition. And, you know, it's kind of hard as this season's went on to keep a real track of those market credits in terms of the ones that come out of boxes. And, like, as you can see, I've been quite prolific in pulling them off of leaderboards and stuff like that. And they do make a big difference to, you know, when I am getting guys on the cheap. If I'm buying them from the primary market, auctions and instant buy, then it's a huge discount, which just makes so many more cards now affordable or within reach. They can make a huge difference to a gallery that's slowly getting together. Game week 47, we get 7 boxes. Game week 48, we get $42 in cash in 2 boxes. And one of that's from Champion Specialist, which looks fun. Oh yeah, Rafinha. him coming into play. Paul Lopez against Arsenal for Girona. That was a fun. And then Celtic playing Aston Villa. That was a fun little specialist team. Seen Frimpong getting on the decisives as well. And again, there's lots of different names and faces that show up in all these winning lineups for me. It's all about those combos. And sometimes it does let me down on occasion. Sometimes it doesn't quite hit, but it feels like I'm getting enough out of it game week to game week. Game week 49, only the one box. And that was when we had a Champions League game week, a Europa League game week, and then into the weekend. Game week 50, we pick up 11 boxes. Game week 51, we get one card and a box. And then game week 52, we win 5 boxes and a card. And this is a tier 3. And the tier 3s are not normally that great. They normally don't mean much to most folk, okay? But if we go and have a look at where we found this, or where we won it, I beg your pardon. We won it from our classic champion team, which is a beautiful classic champion team. Max collection bonus, max level, everything. Castellanos with a beautiful score against Monza. Captain Cherky really has been a hero for me. Amiri back at the club, winning things again, which is just amazing to see. And Angelino with another decisive. And very similar to that Pascal Gross tier 2, this was a card that the tier didn't really matter. Just getting this guy 1 and into the gallery to have a bit of in-season utility is very usable, opens up some options, and is a proper trophy card to bring in. And we want a Teje Savernier. Now Teje, has he done much since he's been here? No, sadly not yet. But love this guy, really great to have him back in. He's not been at the club too long, scores have been okay again. And again, for a tier 3 in season, just feels like a nice win to add into the catalogue. We follow that up in game week 53 with just the one box. Game week 54, we get $100 in cash and we get another 9 boxes. Nice little cash win there from Captain Berardi, James Rodriguez, Celtic defence stack. That's a fun one in 8th. We get another $15 in credits this game week, along with just the one box. And with all these boxes, guys, I've not did that much crafting, as you have seen over the time, you know, so I really wish there was a good way of counting up how many market credits you've been winning. And then from game week 56 here, we get a change to the system. We now get essence to win rather than boxes, but boxes are still here, of course, and we get cards. And we get 2 cards, 17 rare essence, 1 box, and $5 in cash. And in game week 57, we hit the mother load. We win a division, a huge cash prize pot paid out for us. And this was a kind of weird one. It was somewhat bittersweet. We get 4 rare essence and 2 limited essence, as well as 4 cards. And the 4 cards were all really minging. They were not good wins at all. Even the tier 3 was quite stinky, to be honest. And if we look at the team that won it, it was of course one of the Celtic teams. It was the big team. It was Captain Jota till I die. We absolutely nailed it. But the bittersweet part of this is Aberdeen scored to make it 4-1 in like the 90th minute. And the loss of the clean sheet moved me from 4th to 1st because everyone in front of me had went double defender, whereas I'd went double forward, of course. And the clean sheet was less important to me. So it just meant all those teams above me just lost a lot more from it. And I didn't. Now, it did mean that this other team here finished 33rd rather than 28th or something like that, I think it might have been. But the prize pot was still the same. It was around the $30 mark. And now that we've done this once in the season, and with the prize cash total that we're at so far for this year, which I'm kind of counting as we go, I've not looked at the actual total yet. You can see where the cards have won as well. Triple D2 promotion with all the Celtic stacks in full effect. And finishing in the same division, 10th, 22nd and 61st is cool. But we want to do that, but better now. In D1, that's the dream, that's the kind of vision way, that kind of base camp strategy is to really own a division. And to the extent I've managed to really flesh this out into now, where I've got so much depth and so many options, that having these guys now available in limited competitions because of the way the game works, it just gives me a lot more flexibility to actually, especially for the cash leagues, you know, the in-season limited, like this just feels like a mini in-season rare version, because the prize pot isn't really that different. It's way harder, of course, and because of that I don't put as much expectation level on it or whatever, but I can take some more chances with those teams. I can maybe back a hunch a little bit more with a backup player or a risky guy or whatever. And as you've seen, I've kind of won and did okay in those divisions already. I've got the limited into D1 in season, and this it's been relegated now. I'm not sure where it is right now, but getting into D2 and stuff like that, it's not been out of the realm of possibility with this base camp, like fully I'm up to 12 lineups now, you know, with just the rare cards competing to, you know, an okay standard depending on what team you're looking at and what division we're playing in. They're obviously not all as strong as each other and all the rest of it, but we're in a really sweet spot with that. Game week 58, we win 2 cards, 16 rare essence, 10 limited essence, in 2 cards, a super rare and a limited. And this super rare now, I feel like I've got just about... Now, the rules were 3 in season and 2 classic, and if that was the case, winning an Oscar Mingueza, as well as having Dimitrovic and Lionheart, would be like a perfect in-season defence base, and then I just pick a mid and a forward from my classics and I'd be up and running. But sorry, I've now changed the rules where it's now 4 in-season super rares required, so this is a great card to build in. I've only just got him, he's not been used yet. Very usable fullback, of course, and a guy that early season when he was smashing out these bigger scores was talk of the town as being one of the best defenders in La Liga potentially. He does have a negative side being that fullback player, but if he scores big, he's going to put you up there. He's got those types of scores, you know. So that was actually quite a significant win that I've not had the chance to deploy yet. And as I'm looking at this, do we count XP for rewards in this vein? I don't think so. And that brings us up to where we're at the moment, which is game week 59 and preparing for game week 60, where I'm probably not going to add anything from this game week. Or you never know. Actually, you never know. We might win some more market credits for here. We just need to hit our 249 points to get our share of the $20,000 this week. And with Nkunku playing Copenhagen, etc., etc. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. I was so disappointed that Mukiele gets sent off. I bought him in season for $11. And Mukiele's a real candle merchant. Like, he can just put up a 90. And I thought, away to Bayern, that could be a perfect game for someone like him. He's really cheap. He's a guy I like anyway. I know well because I've got his super rare and his rare. I've got the feel of him, if you like. And we're getting De Jong for like 30, 40 quid when he was like in and out of the team. It feels like he's like got his place in the team, and there's a recognised rotation pattern there, so you kind of know when you can play him, which is lovely. The Pascal Grossa one, the Rafinha, that is my non-biological reward, as we call him here on the channel. I was really hopeful that that was going to do something special. Now, in the last versions of this video we've did, I was looking at the in-season cards I'd brought in, how much they cost me, and we went through it a lot more analytically in terms of, especially these early Celtic ones, how much market credits I had and other things that came alongside these early access purchases that were incentivised in the early periods. And I think, generally speaking, the rule of thumb is, like, anytime you see that little shopping cart for instant buy, I have had, like, a chunky discount off of it with the market credits that I've been winning in boxes and from all the competitions that I've been trying my best to source. I said I got Trusty for 20 quid earlier, I got him for 14. But these are all the, once we get to like Wanizek, the £23 Balcombe, and then like getting Vickers for, 90 quid, it says there, but with market credits. Yeah, so we're talking about 4 months ago up to this kind of Engels level potentially is all the cards I'd had already coming into this period, which isn't that much really. It's just the Celtic guys, a little bit of Sociedad, like 3 or 4 cards, nothing much. We maybe get up to 4 or 5 with Baranachea coming in, and then kind of opening the door for me to budget myself into a little Valencia play. And the reason I'm highlighting that, you'll see in a little second. Before then, like, just £6 for Yang, why not? Kaki, a little, some Wonder Kids. I think this the 2 Wonder Kids I bought here, I got like £50 in market credit for buying them or something. I forget what the thing was, but it was like Black Friday or Neon Christmas or something, and it was like spend $50 on the market and get, I can't remember what it was, but I basically got these guys for the square root of nothing, because the money I spent, I got in market credits, which is money I would have spent anyway, or yada yada, I can't remember, but it felt good to do at the time anyway. And these guys are just like nice little quiet wins. I didn't earn them from the leaderboard or anything, but from playing the game and taking advantage of promotions when it came around. Handcuff goalkeeper Gasarowski, and this is now, like, that's not even half. So before this period that we've just came into there, I have over doubled my in-season contingent across all scarcities. Now, not all the guys are totally usable. A lot of them have been SPFL goalkeepers because of the goalkeeper massacre that really held my teams back for a period. And now that all of those goalkeepers are available, I'm in such a position of strength in that region. It is mad. But as you can see, looking at all the prices of even of the goalkeepers I'm getting in my region, as well as, like, I then started to dive into some transfer purchases, of course, in January. I got James Rodriguez. I actually paid 11 for him. I thought it was 20 as well, and that was on instant buy, so that was probably half. But like Quatra, Tierney in the packet, which let's just open the now, because he's not coming to Celtic this season, is he? And I've not opened it yet, so this is just as good a time as any. Is it special? It is! Woohoo! Talk to me, KT. Talk to me. Oh, that's fun. Hopefully Arsenal win the league. Oh, nice. And we get a nice little overview of the neon Christmas cards that we've got. I think I bought some of these, didn't I? Like James and whatever. I got the Hitate and I gave him away, didn't I? And you can see the Musgrado. That's quite fun how we've ended up here. And we've got early access. The only one I got was Hendo. Now we've actually got a lot of MLS early access to come this year. So yeah, early access, you can see what I bought. Absolutely nothing. And some of these guys I won. So yeah, that's just fun. That's a fun little feature hidden in the game still. That's fun. And there he is next to AJ, spinning away. Love that. And again, like the values of these in-seasons I'm picking up are so tiny. And so often, like Lager BLK, like that's just good XP on the collection. In season, the region doesn't really work for me, but I've been using him in globals and stuff like that, and he's been a nice kind of card to have floating around all of a sudden. Feels like he's the best defender in Holland, which is just incredible. Asan Diao, of course, is a transfer I nailed. I was just like, this guy's going to work in Italy, and he's performing as expected. I know this isn't amazing, but, you know, 5 to... is kind of maxed out at 13 AA or so. And decisive capable. What more do you want for 14 quid? And yeah, I think the rest of these ones that are coming on this page and such kind of speak for themselves. There's Rafinha, of course. And after Rafinha, I thought, right, okay, having a card like that in does give you a level of responsibility to make sure that you've got an option of strength to support them. And I decided to kind of focus a bit more on La Liga. I brought in Aguerd, and it's not really worked out as of yet. But I got him quite cheap for where he's been at. And I think it was quite an interesting deal I managed to pull off for him. Because he was really expensive. If we look at his price chart, yeah, like 80 quid and stuff like that, 100 quid. He just held in price quite high for quite a while because his scores were, you know, very impressive for La Liga. But yeah, I managed to trade another, because I bought 2 Asan Diaos and then a bunch of crap plus 18 quid. So I think I did quite a good deal on that. Didn't actually cost me too much on the secondary market by kind of hustling and bustling some of the collateral of the gallery around. And then it makes picking up guys like Oscar Rodriguez for a $5 just a little bit more fun, a little bit more interesting. And yeah, guys like Ravelisson for a tenner, Montiel for 20 quid, guys that are making transfers in season. Paul Lopez, we've got some Champions League utility out of him as well as some other wonder kids. I had a bit more, and the Luis Jr. or the Junior R as he's named on his card here, he was playing for Villarreal and he is like one of my favourite goalkeeper prospects around at the moment. And I thought that was a great time to buy in, and I literally bought in, didn't get a game out of him. I could have used him if I bought him a bit earlier for the Atletico Madrid game, which I don't know how we get dropped after. I know the other guy came back from injury or whatever, but that was a kick in the balls. It's probably one of the few ones that's actually properly backfired on me. And then Butes, I got this headache visual card by trading Larseneur, because Alex Valle had also transferred to Como. That's where Asan Diawid went. And, you know, I was building those lineups and it was always like Como, like 2 or 3 Como players and Larseneur at St Etienne, and they were around the same price. So Larseneur is a player I crafted for 100 essence. In-season goalkeeper, did okay for me, and Butes was valued about the same, so I managed to sell Larseneur, and then I think I sold him for like 32, 33 quid, and then with another couple of quid extra I just brought in the Butes. I then got a Frankie de Jong for 44 quid on the secondary market, because it just felt like I was reading the situation quite well there. He had played the 78 by the time I bought him, but I've been watching a lot of Barca, especially because of Rafinha, and I'm a big Frankie de Jong fan, and it feels like his rotation is quite predictable now. And at 40 quid, having the synergy with Rafinha, as well as just the potential to have a solid 10 AA and being in around a decisive in those dominant matches. Again, it just ticked too many boxes for me. I wanted to do it. We get Chao Henrique for 12 quid as well, and he smashed his face off. He helped us to a bit of a win somewhere. I can't remember what it was exactly. And really, all of that I've went through to that point is what led me into MLS early access at this point in the season, because I didn't rush into any European stuff early access, but I did buy some pieces to complement my existing kind of base camp collection in that competition, and I felt really comfortable and really confident doing that at the right price. And as you can see with the NYC guys that I've picked up here again, all on instant buy, all of them are at half price as far as I can remember, certainly on this initial batch. And I've just went and very little got a bit of a budget gallery together. With that huge cash win that I did pick up, I did push the boat out and eventually bring in in-season Matt Freeze. And that is purely to go after the hot streaks now. And that card is the only card I'm going to attribute hot streak wins to, unless I get another in-season goalkeeper, of course, because if that didn't exist, I would not have brought that card in. I would have been quite happy to run with the classic keepers I have already and play around with some of these types of guys that I have brought in. The NYC guys, Jadon Nelson, Kessler, Gutierrez, whoever else. And that week I said I won 3 cards and they were all dingers, they were all minging. You can see them here. Mladenovsky, Embiso, Jackal, Also, Valdermason back here, he was a really high tier card we didn't do well on. Joan Jordan again in that Oscar Rodriguez mode. Victor Roque's made a transfer in season to Brazil. So again, like, no one's really over 40 quid, are they? And I've just got to the point now where there's enough volume of those level of guys, and the level of guy you can now get in that price category is very, very appealing. Now, there's not much of the season left, so you're really straddling a fine line on how much is too much and how much utility do you realistically need to get back. And really, between now and the end of the season, for where I'm sitting, like, I could quite easily see myself repeating what's happened over the last like month and a half, 2 months especially, at least one more time over, if not two, on a few different levels in a few different competitions, whether it be Celtic only playing weekends again, whether it be in Champ Euro, midweeks being at a minimum, established kind of team motivation and rotation kind of all ironed out, or like, you know, some of the other kind of niche wacky stuff that I just kind of plug into, some of the specials and whatever else. But with it being that convergence, the eye of the storm time, where all of these cards can possibly play in a variety of different competitions, the key to the game right now is variety, is choice in certain areas, as well as like some of the tried and tested, you know, strategy, squad construction things that we always talk about. And when I seen Kevin De Bruyne in season at 44 quid, I just could not say no. I have never had a De Bruyne. De Bruyne got Belgium cards ages ago, and there was so few of them. Man City in the Premier League took so long to come on, and when they did, De Bruyne has always been a star level card. And this season, like, whenever I've watched him, like in Real Madrid, Arsenal, some of these games, like, he has looked finished. He really has. But I am optimistic he's not going to leave Man City in a hurry. I don't think he'll want to go out on a whimper, which I think means he returns to form again. And I think when Rodri comes back into the team, it makes a huge difference. And if I can just get one little L10 like this, classic or in season, I'm going to be happy. Now, if I can get 1 or 2 good game weeks and in season, it'll make it worth it. Now, the difference in premium between a classic and an in-season De Bruyne right now is like 10-15%, which at 40 quid is nothing. The actual Man City season I would like to have cards in, but is the treble winning season, and when it loses that in-season utility, I might try and swap some cards around and then maybe begin that final collection that I would like to have. To complement the Celtic base camp that I've got here that's helped me to the vast majority of these like small wins that all aggregate and all add up across the season, as well as all these other, like, some of them are becoming like secondary base camps now, with the amount of La Liga stuff I've got going on, with the amount of NYC collections I've got going on now. It feels like those little outposts have now kind of grown into being their own established, like, standalone siloed strategy. And then there's still those outpost strategies that are collections that I still have fun with, and I think I've just about rounded them all off, like the Leipzigs and the Leons and the Valencias, Kawasaki's, and all these other ones, which have been fun. Leverkusen I've made some good headway with recently as well, with Paulinho and Amiri, Aranguiz as well. And geez, even at super rare with Real Sociedad, I got a Lenormand for 35 quid, which just felt too good to turn down. And I've not been buying in season. I've not been buying any, pardon me, not even in season. I've not been buying any super rares this year. And then, like, some of these collections back here are just like cards, aren't they? They're not really collections, they're just little, you know, they've got to go somewhere, don't they, on that page. So at this juncture of the season, I'm feeling really confident about that kind of tortoise versus the hare approach that I've had coming into this season, without having a huge wallet to really kickstart, jet set my start to the season. It's been about slowly, methodically picking cards up when they become well priced, winning cards along the way as often as possible to set myself up for as much action as I possibly can across the season. And it feels like now I don't really have any restrictions. Coming into game week 60, we've got the MLS Specialist competition, which is a very attractive in-season competition that's running. With the change to one division in Super Rare, that did help us win the Mingueza, which is fair enough, and we've got some strong teams to go out in that. MLS in-season and Classic, again, we've got like 5 or 6 across Limited and Rare. Really strong lineups of guys that will play, and, you know, just kind of cross your fingers for good football matches. And even for in-season champ, I've got this fun little Como thing on the go, and I've got the ability to rotate in like a Pascal Gross or a Teji Savernier. And if this can get back into Division 1, I can slide Rafinha in here with some of these guys and then maybe move it up to compete for the biggest cash available. Unfortunately, in champ at the moment, I've only got as high as Division 2. And I've actually had to resort to going back to the Sorare data lineup builder for this game week because there is so many cards at play, so many individual strategies. I've got different merits on strength coming into this game week, that coming into this period now after like the initial stage, the last time we were doing this, and now I wouldn't even say the middle of the season, but the formation of the season almost. You know, you really find out who are the good players and teams, and you manicure your club appropriately. Rafinha's probably not going to start against Osasuna, so I'm putting him in low division and giving him the captain's armband in case he comes off the bench. And that budget Valencia thing I mentioned to you before, this game week, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid have all played midweek, highly taxed, highly rotating, going to be this weekend. Valencia at home to Valladolid. They're in Division 1 in season La Liga, and that might just be the one game week that those cards need to work, so I'm actually kind of crossing my fingers and toes for that. And in Champ Euro, we've got such an eclectic bunch of guys that are all decisive capable in different ways. They've all got different match kind of profiles on the go, and I'm sure I'm going to tweak this before we kind of get to the deadline or whatever, but at this point in the season, when like I can look at this and know that in midfield, Ferran Torres is going to start centre forward for Barcelona at home to Osasuna, and Mikel Merino is probably going to start centre forward for Arsenal away to Man United in the form he's been on after smashing PSV 7-1 or whatever it was in the end, etc, etc. You know, so you can pick these players, these guys that you've got the feel of with a lot more confidence at this time of the year, and those are the teams that make the difference against the set and forget or the stack element. And that's what I love about my Champion Euro strategy, is it is that eclectic, plugging guys in, knowing who's got a good fixture, who's overworked, who's about to come into a game, versus the base camp strategy I've got of like Celtic and just knowing their team and playing some different variations of them. And even this game week coming into it, this is a great game week because Celtic are playing in the Cup. There is no Celtic, so it's a wide open, there's no Scotland, so there's some other cards that go on the shelf as it were. But this gives me a lovely incline, a lovely look ahead to the summer for Contender, which is still my core strategy. I still want to be effective in this division even when Celtic go away, but I do have to understand that I'm going way back down the ladder in terms of the quality of card, the amount of variety available to me, and the amount of lineups I can actually play to a good quality of strength. But as you can see across these 4 lineups, 2.5, 3 of them, 4 maybe, if all of them play, could be alright. I've played one of them in Division 2 on purpose so I can try and get that promoted, but otherwise 5 Division 1s. Let's go. And I have genuinely never had more cards ever in my Sorare career for a variety of reasons. A big part of that, of course, is me enjoying winning from the game and selling cards for profit. But I'm now currently at 373 rares, which, as you see across those lineups, I've got some really interesting players, but I have got literally half a dozen options in all those squads in every position right now. And once you've been playing the game for a while, that's a state you're going to get to. And having a measure on, in this first season, how well a classic strategy like that does. I do feel that I did suffer early season with just some really bad force majeure. So many of my players were involved in transfers or change of managers and so many turbulent situations. I didn't have that many of them in a steady position where they are kind of now, and hopefully next season I don't really have as much of that turbulence to deal with early season. But I did feel early doors, I would have got some of the wins I've had recently, I'd have maybe found one of them a bit earlier in the year, which sadly I never, but I'm really hoping now and expecting now the back end of the season, so many things are falling into place where it's time to yield, it's time to really kick on. And the count I've got at the moment, $2,264 won, 222 boxes, and 39 cards across limited, rare, and a couple of super rares. It's not too bad going, but there has been some expenditure, which does take a little bit of that off the table a little bit. And I say the whole unknown element of market credits does come into this a little bit as well. So how much of them have I won, and how much of a difference has that made to my spend as a total? Where can I actually see that? It's obviously a really hard thing to quantify, it takes a lot of heavy lifting, but I think we're in a great place. I'm really looking forward to the back end of the year. I'm looking forward to catching the comment section on this one, of course, guys. See what your thoughts, feelings and opinions are on screen. There now some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more content like this. Stay out of trouble, and I will catch you on the next one.